Hey everyone, today we are in Eufaula, Oklahoma at the Greenwood Cemetery. We're here to see a specific person, but there's a lot of history in this cemetery. Thought we might just walk around a little bit in the old section, and there's also something over here I want to show you. This cemetery goes a ways back through there. Those are the newer ones, although you will see some new ones scattered throughout the whole cemetery. But I'm in the older section really for the most part, and like I said, this is kind of a newer one. Roscoe Horn Jr. This is a Mason. You can see the emblem there on the left. But I thought what was interesting is a HT1 in the United States Navy. Holtec First Class is what that is. And then it says Sergeant First Class, United States Army. And he was in World War II and Korea. Born April 29th, 1926 and died August 22nd, 1998. Certainly well decorated. Probably came out here for July 4th. We're in August right now. A lot of interesting markers out here. Like I said, this is very much an active cemetery. But I like the way it's sort of hilly. It's well maintained, and quite a few veterans in here. You can see some markers are knocked over, but I think it's just because they're old. If you look at the dates here, John W., son of M.H. and M.M. Horn, born August 11th, 1887 and died March 21st, 1888. Gone but not forgotten. It's a really nice marker, even though it's been laying down with all the snow, ice, rain. For it to be legible like that, it was well made. Another one right here, Marion, son of M.H. and Mary Horn, born June 23rd, 1890 and died, looks like February 14th, 1894. So like I said, there are quite a few of them in here that are from the 1800s. See, this one is died April 17th, 1884 is what it looks like. And born in 1831, Louisa, wife of William Hubble, is what that looks like. Kind of hard to read. I've got the sun in a bad spot right now. Quite a few Horns here, as you can see. The last name Horn. Another veteran right here from World War I, private in the 165th Depot Brigade. 1892 to 1961. So this is the real reason why we are even in this cemetery. And the last name is Grayson. And his name is George Washington Grayson. And this is his wife. And I believe her name is Georgette. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just going off of memory here. She was born November 1st, 1849 and died February 4th, 1926. And then he was born in 1843 and died in 1920. And you can see there, Confederate States of America veteran, 1961 to 1965. That's also why this cross is here. Not every veteran is marked in here, I don't think, from what I've seen, but a lot of them are with these crosses, which double as a flag holder, as you can see. Hopefully you can see with that one right over there. George Washington Grayson was born on May 12, 1843. His Muskogee name was Tuwa Tustanuge, which means wolf warrior. He was named in honor of the first president of the United States. He identified as a Creek who was born in Indian Territory, even though he had European ancestry as well. Grayson had relatives on both the Upper Creek and Lower Creek in the American Southeast who were divided during the Creek War. His band of ancestors had left the American Southeast years before the formal Indian removal of the 1830s and lived in Arkansas and Indian Territory. Grayson attended the English language Creek School, Asbury Manual Labor School, and Arkansas College, which developed a lifelong interest in history and literature. He was fluent in both Muskogee and English. During the American Civil War, Grayson served as a Confederate captain leading a company of the 2nd Creek Mounted Volunteers. This is when he was given the nickname Wolf Warrior. In the early 1870s, Grayson was a founder of the city of Eufaula, Oklahoma, when the railroad was constructed to serve the area. Grayson used his education and position as an interpreter to become a power broker within the nation, as well as between the white settlers and the federal government. This helped develop business contacts and partnerships among the Creeks and other Indian groups, as well as non-Indians. He and his brother Sam established Grayson Brothers, which grew to a small retail outlet, rental properties, a cotton gin, cattle ranches, and other agricultural activities. They controlled the Indian Journal after 1880, which was the newspaper of the Creek Nation. He brokered all sorts of deals for his nation, in a sense related to the traditional role of the headman of the tribe. He supported the nation working for the proposed state of Sequoia, which was supposed to be a Native American state. That proposal did not gain congressional support. In 1917, under the revised conditions after tribal governments had been dissolved, Grayson was appointed by President Woodrow Wilson as the chief of the Creek Nation, serving until his death in 1920. Previously, he had served as a Creek delegate to Congress. Together with his wife Georgiana, they had 9 children together in what was reportedly a happy marriage. He dedicated his autobiography to her and their children. Now, there are several Graysons within this family plot area, and this is Kate. This is very hard to read, though. I think she passed away in 1898. Hasn't stood up through the test of time. Does have some growth on it, and the growth has went into the lettering there. But it may be one that you could look up online if you're interested. I also think how these are, it's all sort of up, like to keep the water draining off into the middle here because we're on a hill, and then I guess to get it going down, but it's in between these Graysons right here. And this is a whole Grayson plot area. I think this whole square, and this may even be one right here. And it looks like Myrtle G. Caspier, if I'm saying that correctly, 1898 to 1935. But I think that they're all part of the family because this one right here, as you can see, says Grayson down at the bottom. Louisa Bell Grayson Smith. But like I said, with these ridges, you can see where they've done it on this row as well. And it just keeps having these little ridges. I think it's so that the water drains off of these and it doesn't set in there. And that way the markers do not sink down into the ground. That would be my guess anyways. There are a few where the grass has taken over. This year, you can see how green everything is. This year we've had a lot of rain. It's interesting how you can walk through a cemetery and certain ones catch your eye more than others. And this is one here. I saw the brick wall, so I had to see what was on the other side, and you can see a infant baby there. In fact, it says infant son of Mr. and Mrs. C.F. Foley, born April 14th, 1906, and died April 22nd, 1906. Just laid to rest there with a little lamb up on top of the wall. Now, because of this medallion, this one caught my eye, and it also has the PVC cross right there. So I don't know if it's been verified, but this says James Blake, January 13th, 1853 to September 18th, 1918 is what it looks like. But that medallion says Grand Army of the Republic, 1861 to 1865. So this was supposedly a Union soldier. So this would definitely be one to look up on Find a Grave. And let me know what you find out, because if he was in the Civil War, he was certainly very young, being born in 1853. And if that is in fact true, it makes him one of the younger ones anyways. depending on when he started, I guess. Let me know with a comment below if you find out anything. Here's an interesting one, and I love the way that this one is marked. It has letters that are outset and then also some dates down below that are inset. But this is John Lowe, L-O-W-E, corporal in the Missouri Militia. He was born September 8th, 1832, and the marker is kind of sunk in the ground, so I can't really see the date of death. But that's definitely one that caught my eye. So as soon as you enter the cemetery, you can't help but notice this and this one right here. And of course, you'll see a historical marker right by that, but that looks like some sort of garden growing in a brick structure right there, stone structure. But I was curious what these were, so I made my way over, and this is sort of a pyramid wall-like type structure with a cross on top. Very tall, and it stands out at the front of this cemetery, but it says the Asbury Memorial to Asbury Manual Labor School, which was established in 1847. This monument is dedicated to the memory of pioneer Methodists who built and established the Asbury Manual Labor School for Indian children and youth. These stones are from the original building. Out of this school came the first Methodist church in Eufaula and the Eufaula boarding school. These graves which surround this monument contain the remains of some of the early pioneers. History records the names of Ruelle, R-U-E-L-E, Berthoff, Harrell, and others as the founding fathers. The original site of Asbury School is located in the bed of Lake Eufaula, and these graves were moved here because of the lake being built there. It says the site is northwest of this monument on what was the south side of the North Fork of the Canadian River. This monument recalls a part of our heritage and the brave spirit which moved the heart and mind of the pioneer to reach out and redeem this as our country and establish the church in every place. And it says Oklahoma Methodist Historical Society. So all of these were moved here. You can see there a Reverend Harrell over there, John Harrell, older markers. And there's a Reverend Thomas Berthoff, died in 1867. Definitely an old one. Let's see what he died in 1876. You can see there's a Holy Bible there, and there's a hand holding the book open. So he's preaching the gospel. So he was age 70 years old, and 1810 to 1867 for him. So he was almost 57 years old, so he's 56. And there's a Berthoff there, Marcus Berthoff, and those are newer ones there. But like I said, really interesting. Let's see, I think the writing is maybe on this side. Died 1892, I believe. That's died in 1882. As is this one with all the growth, and it's weathered down. Everything's kind of eroded away, all the writing and everything. Got a bunch of grass covering it as well. Looks like there's a marker right there. D.E., son of H.F. and A.M.A. Buckner, born in 1870 and died in 1872. And then L.A.D., first wife of H.F. Buckner, and born January 13th, 1819, and died December 18th, 1860. I don't know if there's anything on this side. No, there's not. There is on this side. 1818 to 1892. So these are older ones. And like I said, there's just sort of this garden right here. Maybe some of the plant experts can chime in as to what all that is. I know there's some vine growth that's not probably meant to be in there, but what are those, cannas? Trying to learn plants, but I'm not an expert, so I'm not even going to pretend to be. But that would be my guess, I guess. Cannas, maybe. But I think maybe those are more stones from the school. Let's see. Buckner Cemetery is what that's called. And there's Buckner right there. A plat nearby contains graves moved from behind the Buckner home 5 miles southeast of here, now inundated by the Eufaula Reservoir. Henry Friedland Buckner, D.D., his first and second wives, an infant son, the wife of J.S. Murrow, James Grayson, interesting name there, and other associates in the early Baptist mission work in this area. And they're buried here. Called the Apostle of the Creeks, he was born December 18th, 1818 at Newport, Tennessee, and came from Kentucky to Fort Gibson, Creek Nation. And he was a missionary March 7th, 1849, and except a brief stay in Texas during the Civil War, served in this area until his death on December 3rd, 1882. He was known as the controlling spirit of the Creek Nation. Pretty interesting that this is right up front here. Old history that would otherwise be under Lake Eufaula if they hadn't moved them. So I'm glad they moved them actually. So that's going to do it for another cemetery tour, and I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you guys next time.